Um, when I started with Ronald Reagan, um, 40 plus years ago, 1980, when he got into office, I was doing Iran-Contra, and that's because my family is in the royal family there in Iran, and they were concerned about the Queen placement because Queen is a cousin to Romanov, and I'm a Romanov, and we concerned over, all of us concerned over the problematic issues of safety and network interference. And I don't want to get into all of it, but when I got signed on, not at this time, when I got signed on uh, or automatically signed into protection service with Ronald Reagan, the move from the Queen's watchful eye and right to inherit switched over to a secured banking system with my notes, um, which means no one could tap into the secured estate and trust that was sent to me. It was all handled by Ronald Reagan. And oh God, how am I so pleased? Because it's secured in a vault type of security box, and it has everything in there. And I need to get word to William J. Burns, who's an associate of mine, who's with an agency, and I need to make sure that he has um, militarily assigned a guard so that that box is not interfered with, not even from my children, by my children, because I'm not dead, so they would be up on treason charges if they tried to attach to an estate that is secured, and that's because it doesn't belong to them, it belongs to me and a mission, and my children's future has to be governed by me, and my estate is inherited by a mission, and that means my children would have to submit to the continuance of that work or mission. And the mission has everything to do with restructuring the rights of the Russian citizenship because the communism fell. We've been working hard on that, we have. And the rights to oh God, I can't even talk about that right now. Let's just leave it at that. Plus the Native American humanitarian efforts, so that they'll stop being belligerently attacked by I'm going to say low-level fascist groups, because at this stage in our growth of society, nobody admires fascist groups. Nobody wants to be affiliated with fascist groups, and nobody believes in the social ladder if it excludes or harms protected class people, because that means all of us. It doesn't matter, and this is the US of A, so we're a melting pot, and we're supposed to glorify the right of the indigenous all over the world, and we're supposed to be a good example of what can be and what is at United Nations, which is a table for everybody. And if we interfere with that and the rights of those at the table, then get the hell out. Because the time for fascism and for KKK and supremacist groups have been long gone, because you've shown your intelligence or lack thereof, because we don't understand why you You think you're so great because what we've seen is ill education, smackdown treatment, which is always easy to retaliate upon, low level um, governing capability, and you're locked into a state level position. You can't hire yourself above that, and it's laughable by everybody. So the funds that I have set aside for a mission is, is for humanitarian efforts, and it's always for the indigenous everywhere. If I go to Africa, it's going to be, of course, for the tribes there. If I go to Mexico again, it's going to be efforts for the indigenous there. So when I signed on for protection and for um, defense for Ronald Reagan, it's Department of Defense. Like my mother, she was Department of Defense, and she has a USA Department of Defense card, and she was Secret Service for Eisenhower first, and then for Kennedy, and it was that way. And she wasn't a whore; she was Secret Service, and she had to perform um, belligerent attacks to instigate rights for a man to fight another man, because the men have code, and global peace efforts means don't just side with one and start a fight for no reason. If you have a right to fight, then we understand. And that was her job, was to start a fight. Me, I don't know. I seem to fight on my own. I don't know. But Ronald Reagan asked me, "What do you want?" I said, "Give me the horses." Wild pintos, wild mustangs have long since been a nuisance to all presidents except for Ronald Reagan, and they're mine. And that way I can release them to the Native Americans. And I already gave notification to Judicial Service, who took the message back to Congress and to the Supreme Court. I don't think they've opened up the obligation yet to do anything, and they don't seize anything. It's it's a protective order from Ronald Reagan administration, been signed by Ronnie for 40 years. And those Pintos and Mustangs belong to me, and that's because I'm going to give them to Native Americans, as long as they are not forced to or obligated to or even choose to put them in a glue factory. I have a contract set up with Arabia to have horse races with the Mustangs and the Pintos, and that means the horses can fetch a really good price, and they can't go through anybody but my humanitarian effort group. And I've been waiting to do a congressional notification um, regarding the horses, so that the Native Americans can go and fetch. And we're working on it. I have a group who have signed on, and we've shaken hands, and they're working on the ranches right now. And some have probed the territory, and they're militarily secured. And it's all my people who've known about it forever. So there you go. Good works. Now let's see what you can do. What can you do? just joking. It's important to protect the host who serves your dinner, or You know, you might get poisoned. You might, no, they won't do that. Whether they won't, they're very good, kind people. I love them. Um, but if you're sitting at the table, I suggest that you and I and everybody else respect the house. And that means I believe it's time that they erect the lodges and in a cultural aspect and be protected against vandalism, because I think it'd be perfect for tourists to come in. I know China's interested, I know Japan's interested. I've been working on this for a long time, a tourist package to come see the buffalo range, who want to see the Native Americans um, in a natural state. That's what I have for today, for now. Yeah.